This Liberty Sports Update is brought to you by Beacon Credit Union.
Coach, signing day or early signing periods today. Two really good guards that you get in Brody Peoples and Joseph Van Zandt, and two guys that had really other good offers as well. And you've talked repeatedly about building this program the right way and getting character fits and guys who can make this program better. And it sounds like the two of them fit that mold.
Yeah, Dame, rewind about 5+ years ago, and some of our first or initial recruits, Lavelle Cavell, we didn't beat anyone to get him. Um, Mayo Baxter Bell, I think, had a few overtures. I'm not sure he had but one other offer. Scotty James was transferring. Caleb Holmesley, we inherited. And Georgie Pacheco Ortiz didn't have any offers. So any other Division One offers. I feel like those aforementioned individuals have really helped assist our program's growth and development, and to attract two young men like Brody and like Joseph is a real tribute to not only Liberty and what this university is about, but also our basketball family. And I'll take each of them individually. Brody is he doesn't look the part. When you go in the gym, you might think he's the coach's son or maybe even a manager. But man, when he walks between those lines, he is a basketball savant. I mean, he really understands the game. He's a three-level scorer. I liken him a little bit to what I saw in Ty Jerome in high school, as well as a kid from BYU named Tyler Hawes, who is just an outstanding scorer. Brody's really got a bright future, and I think when it's all said and done, he'll be one of Liberty men's basketball's finest. Joseph, again, having had the Virginia experience that I did, and Tony Bennett loved big guards, and man, Joseph's got this frame, this physicality, long arms, length, athleticism that reminds me of a Brogdon type that we had at UVA or KT Harrell. So I really think we have two individuals that have a chance to play right away, with an already deep backcourt. And I also think we have young men that could play at really any level of college basketball.
Coach, what you've been recruiting these guys for a long time. They've been committed for almost a year now. What do you say about, you got to know them pretty well personally. About, you talk a lot about recruiting these young men and the fine young men that they are. I'm assuming you think the same about these two as well.
Yeah, some of it's different in terms of recruiting at the mid-major level. When I in or at an ACC program, I could call up and, hey, this is such and such from Virginia, and there's an immediate interest. But when you're at the mid-level and you're trying to get involved with players that can play at higher levels, I think one of the things that we've tried to capitalize on is A, recruiting the fit, B, trying to get on them really early, and C, just seeing if we could get them on campus and let them be around our players, one, and the people at Liberty, we would have a chance. And both of those young men had a chance to come and visit early, and obviously it looks great now because they've signed with us, but it doesn't always work, but certainly has been a strategy of ours.
With two signees, is there any more room in your scholarship limit to add more this year, or are you guys pretty much set?
Dame, you're asking a question that you already know the answer to,
Yeah.
but that would do it for now in the changing, ever-changing landscape of college athletics. Nobody's year counts against them this year. In January, I believe the vote is they're going to have the waiver exemption where you can be an immediately eligible transfer. So I think you're going to see Division One college basketball at least become a little bit more like the NBA in terms of its roster management, and so be prepared for that. I think we'll obviously have a contingency plan, but we really like our team. We have a lot of youth, but feel like we're headed in the right direction.
Your schedule was released yesterday. I'm sure, was this probably the craziest time in scheduling you've ever gone through? And how difficult was it to get some games to get a full schedule?
Yeah, John, as we've grown in maybe our brand or our reputation, it's been increasingly more difficult to schedule. Um, and you throw in the pandemic and trying to the change that the NCAA made because of COVID. We lost 5 games that fell off the schedule between November 10th and 25th, and then we had another 3 or 4 canceled, and everyone had an out because of COVID and redirection. We also redirecting. We also lost up to about 150,000 in guarantee money. So I can't tell you what a great job Derek Johnston, who kind of runs the point for our schedule, did in trying to get us to the table with this potential game or that potential game. And truth be told, I think our schedule for this coming season is as good as it's been. You rarely get an invite to play in a prestigious tournament with the likes of Purdue, Mississippi State, and Clemson. And then we're headed to Bubbleville in Connecticut at the Mohegan Sun to play Siena, who's preseason #1 in their league. And then that's it for the traveling, other than a trip to Missouri. And that was strategic. We wanted to try and stay closer to home or at home from mid-December on, because knowing the league schedule was going to start after Christmas. So I felt like that fell into place. And then the non-ones, quite honestly, in a year where we're opening a brand new arena and we have 5 of our top 11 who have never played a game for Liberty, I wanted the inventory. I mean, remember now, we don't get scrimmages or exhibitions. So, and then our schedule has been reduced by 4 additional games. So that's 6 opportunities in the preseason that we won't be afforded. So it's really difficult to schedule in our current state, but and I'm not making excuses. In some ways, it's a little bit of a backhanded compliment because we hear no an awfully lot, but I feel like we did the best we could given the circumstance.
You mentioned getting that inventory of games for this group and how quickly the ASUN play will start. And it was just announced, early this week that you're going to be going on back-to-back days on weekends instead of having that day off. And do you like going back-to-back days on weekends, or what's your thoughts about how the ASUN's restructured its schedule to mirror that of other mid-major conferences?
Do I like it? No. Do I understand it? Yes. I think, again, for me, having participated in a few NCAA tournaments, I love the tournament format where you have a day in between, the quick turn, you have to prep, you have to come down from adulation and excitement to prepare for another game. And the more we can mimic that or recreate it, I think the better prepared you are, if indeed you're fortunate enough to get there. So I don't know how I feel about back-to-back nights, but we do it in tournaments. So, but you never do it against the same team. That'll be a little different. Yet, the tough thing for me is 3 or 4 of our first 6 are on the road against the 2 preseason whatever top teams, and that I think we'll have to be ready early. And again, everyone's going to have to be ready to react to what happens if you have a positive test or I'm just excited that we get a chance to play, and I'm not going to complain about inconveniences or the unknown.
You talked about having 5 of your top 11, never playing a game for you there at Liberty. But your first 3 games, you got first 2 against Power 5 opponents. Then you talked about how good Siena is expected to be. Was that just a matter of we got to get games when we can get games, or would you prefer to start them off a little bit slower and ease them into things?
Yeah, I think where we are in our program, John, anytime we get high major games, we're taking them. And these just were afforded to us, so we took them. But if I would have had an opportunity to play, and our schedule was near finished when the NCAA announced that you could play in a second MTE, and we were close to trying to redirect there, the dates just didn't work out. But anytime we can play high majors, we want a chance to test ourselves. And in Purdue, Matt Painter is one of the best coaches in the country. I think they have a fabulous program. Years ago, when I was at Virginia, I went to go watch them practice because I admire the work and the job that he and his staff do. And then we were very familiar with Ben Howland, the Mississippi State Bulldogs. I know they'll be a tough challenge if indeed we play them in the second night. And obviously, Brad Brunell's a terrific coach, and Clemson's got a great program. Amir Sims was someone we tried to recruit a little bit at Virginia early, and I'm very familiar with him because he was a teammate of Darius McGee. So, man, that's a tough task. And hey, don't sleep on Siena. They're really good. They have an NBA prospect in Pickett and another first team all conference guard. They've got a really good team. I think they won 10 of their last 11 last season. So those first three games it'll test us, and good for us. I think it'll at least reveal where we're lacking or where we need to grow.
Hey, Coach, Travis Wells here. Good to see you.
Hey, Travis.
Hey, just want to ask you about Darius and Cuffy and how much those guys need to how much you would like to see them increase their scoring output, and do they understand that their role might be a little different in that regard this year, considering what you lost in that senior class?
Yeah, good question, Travis. Do they know? Yeah, absolutely. I think those two kids have a great sense of team and an understanding of the game. I would tell you, when you have guys that are fully invested in that care about the team success more than they do individually, they'll do whatever it takes to win the game on a given night. Now, Darius, we've seen he's capable of a 20, 30-point night, and Cuff, boy, he ended the season last year in a championship game against Lipscomb. He was playing at a very high level, and that was coming out of a shooting slump. So I think they both improved. I think they're aware that we're going to really rely on some of their experience. But I also think that they'll still do it within the framework of our group. And I don't think any of their approach is one that, hey, I got to be Caleb, or I got to be like that. I don't think you'll see that from them. We value them for the people they are and for what their individual game promotes and how it helps our team's cause.
Coach, we haven't seen you guys practice yet, and this might be difficult for you to answer, but which player has made the greatest strides so far since you guys returned for summer workouts?
Greatest strides? That'd be hard to say, Dane. I think all of our guys have improved, and I would tell you, I think Cuff, being a senior in his fourth year, he understands it better than anyone else, and also has impact the game at both ends more so than anyone, maybe even in the league. He's that proficient, but he's also, again, I say he's our version of Marcus Smart. So I think there'll be games when he has 20 and games when he has 6. Darius has improved. I really think Blake Preston's gonna, once he returns to form, he had a little bit of an ankle injury, and he has been limited to just half court play. But once he returns to form, I think he's gonna fall into a role that is really important to us. Our 2 point guards, Drake Dobbs and Chris Parker, they're off to a pretty good start. Obviously, I'm still getting to know them and haven't seen them tested in a game yet. But Keegan McDowell's been a welcome addition back. He's really done a nice job here in the fall. I mean, Kyle Rode, I think he's improved. He had a foot injury at the end of the last year that hindered him a little bit. Shiloh Robinson has been really good, especially of late. So, again, when you have 10 or 11 guys, this is as deep as we've been. So my biggest problem is going to be managing those minutes. Dame, I'm sure you'll have some suggestions for me on how to do that. So feel free to shoot them my way whenever you want to.
I don't have any suggestions, but you look at the development of Blake and then Shiloh, and when you lose production like you have with Scotty and Mayo, and then even Brendan Newton transferring, how important is this development from such young players who didn't get that much playing time, but now get a chance to be more prominent, and the guys that you have said have waited in the wings and are now have their opportunities?
Yeah, again, I hate to continue to refer back to my Virginia experience, but I think they're one of the best programs in the country. One of the neat things about being there were guys waited to play. And I think we've had a couple of guys that have waited for an opportunity, and I can think of Blake mostly in this case, and Keegan a little bit as well. So hopefully they capitalize on that. But Dame, we're a program that if you earn it, you're going to have the opportunity. And I have zero problem with playing a freshman more so than a sophomore, junior, senior. I want to put the guys out there who can most impact winning. So with that said, I think, yes, their evolution's important, especially on the interior. But I also think we've got a versatile enough group that, we'll figure out a way to try and be hard to play against defensively and try and create some advantages offensively.
Two more guys.
You've been in a Liberty Arena for full time for the past few days now. I know we've talked about it and looked forward to it for a long time, but how much can that new facility help your program?
Oh, it's fabulous. Has anybody been in there? I'm telling you, it is a big time facility. We're really blessed, very honored that the administration thinks enough of us, women's basketball and volleyball, to make this happen. I think it's going to end up being a phenomenal home court advantage. I know Gonzaga, the kennel seats, I want to say about 6,000, and I wish we didn't have the restrictions that we do have, because I think it would be electric in there when it's full. But that being said, I think our guys they feel the privilege and the responsibility of making sure that we have a sense of gratitude, deep sense of gratitude, to have a venue like that. And obviously I think it's going to help in the evolution of our program, right? We bring a recruit to that arena, he's going to say, whoa, this is special. Not saying that the Vines wasn't, but when you see this, you'll know what I'm talking about.
One more.
And Coach, you brought up, restrictions, and I think Duke announced the other day that Cameron Indoor won't have any fans to open the season, and you guys at least get 17% capacity, and how much will that help, just having those fans there versus playing in an empty arena?
Well, I think you guys know, you've been to enough football games. It's really hard for the student athletes who, dream about doing this. There's a certain level of intensity that is an atmosphere that's created from the fan experience. And again, I harken back to our last game. The Vine Center was electric, and it was worth a few points that game. And I think challenge, but our guys and the people that we play against, we're competing to try and have an opportunity to play in the NCAA tournament. And I think that commitment to the daily process of that is what eventually, once the ball gets thrown up for the tip, I think all that exterior stuff kind of quiets, and you get back to trying to execute on both ends the best you can.